Atlantis is estimated to have submerged roughly 12,000 years ago. There was an apparent conflict with the race referred to as the Annunaki and their interruptions on the earth. This conflict is often referred to as the war between the gods. It is said that this civilization became greedy and immoral, which led to its own destruction over time.
Atlantis was dominated by a vast, almost perfectly rectangular plain, surrounded on three sides by high, very beautiful mountains. Possessed of abundant natural resources, rare plants and precious flowers of every description, even elephants and other exotic animals, Atlantis was a land like no other, where the people wanted for nothing.
That sacred island, which then beheld the light of the sun, brought forth infinite abundance and the blessings of the earth. They had such an amount of wealth as was never before possessed by kings, and is not likely ever to be again. Human nature got the upper hand. They became tainted with unrighteous ambition and power.
These gods were known to be performing experiments and genetics. It is said that these gods created two races to serve them, which are often referred to as the Adamic race and the Eve race. The story of Adam and Eve is often treated as fable, but this concept describes a story of genetic manipulation and the dawn of man by a group of extraterrestrials referred to as the Anunnaki or the Nephilim, and this story is likely to be regarded as history. According to the Sumerian texts, a group of extraterrestrials came down to Earth to mine gold and created a race to serve the gods, which are referred to as the Adams and the Eves. The Anunnaki apparently came from their home planet called Nibiru. They genetically manipulated and engineered crossbreeds of Homo erectus and Anunnaki blood together to create races to serve the gods. They use symbolism in our everyday society that refers to this genetic engineering concept, with the serpent motif.
And we don't even have to look into ancient mythology for this. Somehow, peculiar as it is, biblical, mythical, spiritual symbolism is often used in a scientific context. Here on the front of magazines, we see images from the Bible, but we also have references to cloning. We have meditation symbols next to information about genes, and we have the all-important serpent in direct connection, in direct alignment with the DNA spiral. Is somebody trying to tell us something with this peculiar combination of imagery? Here, for instance, is the Time magazine cover for Countdown to War. But Countdown to War actually takes a second place to the remarkable symbolism on the front, solving the mysteries of DNA, the 50th anniversary. What do we see? The primal scene. Well, hold on, what has DNA now got to do with the Garden of Eden? But here we have the primal scene. But hold on, what has DNA and high modern science got to do with the primal scene? Is somebody using this juxtaposition for a reason? Do they know something we don't know? Here we have the primal scene. We have Adam and Eve at the tree of life. But what is happening? The tree of life is morphing into the DNA spiral. It's so old, it's new.
So, could we have been genetically engineered? That would actually make the most sense to me, because we are in a sense very alien to this world, I find. And the majority of people aren't in tune or working for the earth, and it doesn't even faze them or come across their thought pattern, or they don't even take into consideration or even think about any of these topics or even care necessarily. And how would you even explain that to someone, that humanity could have been genetically engineered, without sounding completely and totally outrageous to someone? I'm not saying this is the truth, that's for you to decide, but to me it actually makes a lot of sense when we actually have an open mind and think about the extraterrestrial involvement on this planet, especially when you look at a lot of these ancient texts and what they had to say about a lot of it, and you see depictions of beings in the sky or UFOs. And the world is estimated to be roughly 4.5 billion years, and if we truly did evolve naturally from this planet, then would we not have a certain kind of equilibrium or balance with the earth? But we don't at all. We're not very spiritual as a race, and we use resources that pollute this planet. So it's not, I don't find that to be a natural process. If it's billions of years old and it takes this long to build up to this stage, there's reasons for all of this, and it all goes back to these Sumerian times and Babylonian times, and where all of civilization kind of started to spawn, where you have these institutions that just really just pop out of nowhere, and then you have the birth of civilization, and it all, starts to develop.
But what could explain the apparent similarities between the Egyptian hieroglyphs and those of the Maya? This question fascinated the scholars of Donnelly's day. Both groups used pictures instead of letters. The Maya often wrote on columns called stelae, like the Egyptians. Both used symbols that looked like strange combinations of humans and animals. Could there be a connection?
According to Rand, a few Atlanteans managed to survive this unimaginable disaster and went on to found the earliest known civilizations, leaving to history many of the great monuments of the world. From esoteric and mathematical clues contained within these monuments, Rand believes he has managed to decode the exact location of the city of Atlantis, still buried under miles of Antarctic ice.
I think that we have found a very specific coordinates on Antarctica that have a strikingly circular object beneath the ice about 1,400 meters, about a mile down, which can be seen by satellite.
Critics argue that trying to locate Atlantis under miles of ice by satellite is doomed to failure from the start.
These people believe that the ice sheet kind of rotated like the loose skin of an orange and managed to find itself over Atlantis. The ice moves. The plates of the earth move. Both of these things actually happen. But what doesn't happen is an ice sheet doesn't cover existing civilizations. If ice moves the way a glacier moves, it mows down existing civilizations.